You're listening to the AfricaMusicLaw.com show with Miss Uduak, episode number 19. AfricaMusicLaw.com, your number one go-to destination for celebrity legal drama, music business, and industry news. Hello, my good people, Africa Music Law people. Wow, I have missed you guys so much. I don't even know how to express it. We're going on almost a month of not interacting through the podcast shows. Whew, that was torture. I can't believe it. I really missed you guys. Let me tell you how much I missed you guys, right? So I'm talking to a friend, we're chilling, talking, had a good time. Next day, homie wants to still kick it. I'm like, dude, seriously, I ain't got your time. I need to go kick it with my African Music Law people. I mean, that's how serious it is. I really, really missed you guys terribly. Hope you missed me too. And if you didn't, welcome everyone to the AfricaMusicLaw.com show. It's your one and only certified game changer, Miss Uduak, and yes, I'm officially back to do this fashion and entertainment thing. And if you don't know what this is all about and you're just joining us for the first time, I'm a fashion and entertainment lawyer with the law firm of AB2 Law Group PC, located here in California, USA. And the AfricanMusicLaw.com show is a show that is about the business of empowering our African artists and other creative talents in the fashion and entertainment industry here in the USA and across the African continent. So what we essentially do on this show is we take on the latest in celebrity legal drama, music business, and industry news, and we chop it up when it comes to legal and business commentary and, of course, analysis. And this is where it gets quite interesting, because then what ends up happening is you see the intersection of pop culture and the law. We also invite our industry experts, our artists, and other cool people, AML people, in hopes that it benefits you all. So we've been doing this for a while now, and we are going on our 19th episode? No, 18th, 19th? Why am I missing that? Okay, I should know this, right? Okay. We are going on our 19th episode. Can you guys believe that? Unbelievable. Last we left up was Sinzu, one of my favorites in Africa's music industry. There's something about that guy that I just really like. I don't know what it is. But right from day one that I heard him, I was just like, this guy can go a lot of places. And I'm always rooting for him. Sinzu, do your thing. We've had some really interesting talents, skills. Eva was a really good interview that we had here. She dropped a new single. I heard it. I've not had the chance to share it with you all, but very, very hot. Wow, we've just had so many people come through. Liz Yamoja, who remembered that interview. That was good. Pascal Atumo, totally loved him. Fun. I talked about copyright law for Nigerian and American artists and the Lecrae Flame versus Katy Perry show. We had Spinlet Mark Redguard come on the show. Mark, if you're listening, people really, really loved you, and I still get excellent feedback about your interview. You totally rocked that interview. You killed it. And you guys, there's just been so many beautiful, wonderful podcast series, and of course the blog with so much information for you all artists. I hope you're enjoying that and you're just taking it all in and using it to amplify and propel your careers forward, and of course be about the business of music and that bottom line, because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, you want to make sure you ensure your future and your music career. It is good to be back. I again missed you all so very much. How you guys doing? How have you been? What's going on? How are your businesses? So what are we doing today? We've got a special guest. But There's several things I really want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about it in this podcast series because I want to do the Ask Miss Uduak segment, and then we can really narrow in on the analysis and discussions on those issues. The TB Joshua case is really on my mind. I need to get that out. I need to talk to you guys about it. And so I look forward to that podcast coming up soon, hopefully. Everyone's had their say. Now let the lawyer do the talking, Miss Uduak, and let's talk about the legal implications of that. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what's said and done in a democratic society, we know where we're going. We're going to the courthouse all the way there to figure out what's going on and how do we, in a very, very tragic situation, really compensate the families who have lost, their loved ones. So the courthouse is where it's at. We're going to get there. The question is, which courthouse are we going to? Are we going to the criminal courthouse? Are we going to the civil courthouse? Are we going to both? And who are the people that we're going to sue? That's the fundamental question. So is the state involved? The state is currently, undergoing certain investigations to determine who is liable. But hey, what about the state? What happened? Did they inspect when they were supposed to? What did they approve? What's the chain of custody with everything they did? How come they're asking TB Joshua for, permits and information? Shouldn't they have that in their custody to see what they did and when they did it? What's been going on that? We want to know. And then TB Joshua himself. What did he know? What did he not know? I mean, we've got to get into that and break down the analysis and understand what's going on with this situation and who's really liable. And then what about the contractors? How exactly was that building constructed? Did it really have more buildings and more layers than it was supposed to? 2-story buildings supposedly went on to 6-story buildings. What about the allegations of some sort of aircrafts or some sort of terrorism act? We've got to break down all the analysis, and a big part of it really has to be, we still go back to the state, because at the end of the day, the state is also very, very responsible here. So I don't see how the state is going to escape answering the question of its own culpability and what exactly it did with respect to this building and the inspection procedure and whether it complied on its end of the bargain, and of course what happened also on the side of TB Joshua as the owner. So that's civil. And we're looking at several causes of action: wrongful death on the civil part, negligence, and the whole enchilada. There's so much there. But then there's also the criminal part. If we can establish the element of wrongdoing here and the legal obligations that are owed to everybody that came onto that building. Okay, so the concepts of invitees, licensees, people who came onto the land to do something on the land under the concept of tort law. Once we can do all that, we go to the Lagos Hall of Justice, criminal courts, and we go deal with the reality of what really happened and look at possibilities. I mean, the district attorney there or the prosecuting agency should be looking at charges, certainly. And some charges would include murder, manslaughter. So there's just a lot to talk about and to break down those elements and really get into it. And I'm going to need to roll my sleeves to make that happen. So stay with me and we will get to that part at some point and hopefully pretty soon. I'm also interested in talking about the Oscar Pistorius ruling out of South Africa, which is the equivalent of a U.S. manslaughter verdict. So those are the two things at the forefront of my mind. All right, folks, I won't take up more of your time. Let's get right into it. We've got a dynamic guest. This guy makes me laugh. He's funny. Such a flirt, actually. He's known as a ladies' man, so it wasn't a surprise that he came on my show and tried to flirt with me. Well, I think it was, but hey, you make the conclusion. But it was a fun interview. I had a good time. It's John Dumelo. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and you meet the actor, the businessman, the philanthropist, handling his business all day, every day. Tall, dark, and handsome, at least according to the ladies. Mr. John Dumelo coming up pretty soon. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to the AfricanMusicLaw.com show with your one and only certified game changer, Miss Uduak. Yes, I'm back. I am back. I am so back. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so for our first-time listeners, if you heard me say that in the beginning that I went on almost 1 month without speaking to my audience for the podcast show, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, does she update regularly? We so do that. The content has been on the blog. I did take a quick break, needed vacation, and I went to New York for the New York Fashion Week Spring Summer 2015 collection at Mercedes-Benz. I had a blast. Oh my God, it was so much fun. And I got a chance to walk the runway also. I've been modeling for quite a while, but I've taken a break, a long break. It's been a long time. So to get back on the runway was so fun. And it sort of reminded me that maybe I still need to listen to what everyone is saying, which is don't quit modeling just yet. But I don't know about just getting on the runway. It can be quite demanding, especially with my time and how busy I am. But at a minimum, maybe consider beauty campaigns and doing, more modeling, but more on the beauty side. That way, it doesn't take up as much time, I'm hoping. So anyways, I had a blast. I had fun. I got a chance to also go on to Sahara Radio with Humble Prince Olu and the Sahara TV and Sahara Radio people. Thank you all so much. I had a good time there. And of course, attended a lot of the fashion shows, got a chance to see my fashion law colleagues. And I was really reminded that sometimes I get really focused sometimes on Africa, and the reality is that my reality is not too much of Africa in the US, so I need to remember to just really plug in and stay very close to my colleagues here, because I really miss them too. So I had a good time reconnecting with a lot of people in just regular industry people. It was the same thing earlier this year when I went to the Grammys. I got reminded that I really need to make sure that I'm always, as much as I spend a lot of time on Africa, I need to make sure that I'm constantly linking up with my colleagues and attending as much events as possible. Sometimes you do that for a while after being in the industry for 20 years now, as particularly on the fashion part, that sometimes you take for granted a lot of these things that you do that a lot of people that are not in the industry want to be a part of. So it just reminded me to really appreciate even more so than ever before. So that was that. And then one final thing before I get you all straight to our interview, and that is if you would like to subscribe so that you stay updated on when we publish our weekly podcast, it's actually quite easy. iTunes, Stitcher Radio. You can find all the links on our website, africamusiclaw.com. You can also find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/AfricaMusicLaw. Our Twitter handle is AfricaMusicLaw. And if you want to follow me personally, the host, Miss Uduak, it's so easy. My Twitter handle is at UduakLaw. If you'd like to be a sponsor of the show or appear as a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to hit me up at africamusiclaw@gmail.com. All right, let's do this. We will go right straight into our interview with the one and only John Dumelo. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the AfricaMusicLaw.com show with Miss Uduak, your one and only certified game changer. We have a special guest in the house. Handsome, tall, dark chocolate brother for all the ladies listening. For the fellas, you have a lot to learn from this young man. I don't know if he's still young. We're going to have to ask him. I'm talking about the one and only John Dumelo. John, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? And it's great to be on this show.
Well, thank you. And I understand you are in New York City.
Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome. And how long have you been in New York?
I've been in New York for a couple of 2 or 3 days. I was in other states, as a matter of fact, before I came to New York.
Okay, so what brings you here this time around?
Pretty much holiday.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome. But why New York for holiday? It's such a very harsh city sometimes. It can be quite harsh. I just came back from Fashion Week.
Oh, okay. I mean, yes, it is harsh, but when you're staying somewhere in Long Island, it's pretty much cooler and much more simpler.
Okay. Did you get a chance to go anywhere else in the U.S.? You said you've been to other cities or
Yeah, I've
states?
been to Colorado. I've been to Tennessee. I've been to Houston.
Ooh, Houston is like, I call it another Nigeria because it seems like there's a huge population of Nigerians in Houston and it's growing.
I did tell you. I did tell you. You see Nigeria.
It's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
Colorado, I haven't been yet. How was the experience for you?
Colorado is great. Colorado is good. The mountains, the view. It's a lovely place. I always enjoy outdoor events, and I think Colorado is just the best place to be.
Wow, awesome. Okay, so let's quickly get into your background and then really parse out what you're all about. First of all, tell us a bit about how you got into acting.
I started acting in 1991, and then after that, I didn't do any acting. I went to school and everything. Then in I think early 2000s, I started doing a TV series because my friend was the producer, and then I got into TV presenting, and then commercials, and then I started doing major films.
Okay. And for everyone listening, John is known as the ladies' man, very, very successful in his acting. And there's just something that he does that the women love. John, before we transition into everything else that we're going to talk about today, what do you think it is about you that makes you connect with women so much in your characters as a ladies' man?
Well, I really have no idea. I think I'm just as natural as possible.
You're
So
what?
I'm natural, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. That's good to know. All right, John, let's get right into it. And I'd like to start first with talking more specifically about the business of film and starting off first in a broader big picture. So let's talk about your country, Ghana. Okay, what has the Ghanaian government done in terms of film to really encourage that creative sector as well as its actors and actresses?
Well, I mean, I must say the film industry has really received just a little in terms of support from the government of Ghana. I mean, very recently they gave an amount of, I think, 2 million Ghana cedis, which is, let's say, then approximately is about, let's say, eight or $900,000 to the creative art industry, not the film industry. So after everything, I think the film industry just got about 100 or $200,000, which I don't know what happened to that money, but that's a different issue altogether. But I think they haven't really done much because they have not really seen the importance of film industry. They've not seen the importance of film because, mind you, not just me, but other African actors, when we go out of Africa, we are recognized, all over. I mean, I get people from South America, I get people from Asia, I get people from other parts of Europe saying, "Hey, John, I know you. I've been watching African movies. I'm married to an African, so I watch African movies," and blah blah blah. And it's a form of export, I must say. It's a form of tourism. People get to learn more about Ghana. So I think the government or respective African governments to be able to see the value of the film industry. If you take Nigeria, for example, Nollywood contributed about 1.4% of the total GDP of the Nigerian economy. I mean, which is significant. That was the first time they had measured the film industry, in terms of the GDP. So if you come to Ghana, I'm sure, there's also a percentage or there's a factor that the film industry contributes to the national economy. So I feel the government should do more. They've done some, fair enough, but they should do more to invest in the film industry, and that could be a major export when it comes to the growth of the economy.
One thing I'm noticing is there was the Cannes Film Festival that happens in France each year. So far, so good. At least the past 3 years, I'm noticing Ghanaian presence at the film festivals over there. Do you know anything about that? I don't know if you've been able to make it out there, but I know some of your colleagues, including Jackie Appiah, I think at one point, one of the few years, was also present there.
Yes, I've been there once. That was like, I think, 3 years ago. But after that, I have been invited subsequent years. I just couldn't make it because I was busy doing other stuff. Yes, we've been to the Cannes Film Festival, but unfortunately, we've not been able to present any film at the Cannes Film Festival yet. I think we will present a film at the Cannes Film Festival in the coming years.
Okay, is that whole trip being sponsored by the government of Ghana,
No,
or
no,
is
no, no,
that
no,
an
no.
individual
It's
effort?
it's it's an individual effort. It's a private individual. I mean, the people that go to the representatives from Ghana that go to the Cannes Film Festival are actually the winners of the Ghana Movie Awards, and the Ghana Movie Awards is being or is organized by a private company. So I mean, I buy my own ticket to Cannes Film Festival,
Ooh, that's
and
expensive.
everybody buys their own ticket literally to Cannes Film Festival. It's not something which is government sponsored.
Yeah, because when you're thinking not only the ticket, the cost, the accommodation, the week staying there, and all the other stuff that adds up, you better be very prepared if you're going to do that.
Exactly.
Okay. Often, a lot of actors and actresses, both here that are trying here in the diaspora in the U.S., trying to break into the film industry over there, and vice versa, those trying to come here, often want to know, how do you break into the film industry in Africa, specifically Nollywood, or in this instance, Nollywood and Gollywood? Could you outline some of those steps for us?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Okay, this is how to break into the film industry. Most often than not, I find up and coming actors and actresses trying to break into the film industry through a very quick process. I mean, it took a while before I broke into the film industry in Africa. So, if you want to break into the film industry, you need patience, you need time, you need a lot of talent, because you can do one or two movies and you break out. You can do 20 movies and you still haven't, been recognized. So I just think being at the right place at the right time also helps. Associating yourself with certain production houses also helps. And you definitely see the steady growth, when it comes to breaking into the movie industry.
Okay, you talked about associating yourself with the right production house. Let me follow up with that. I recall it used to be that Nollywood was like the big name everywhere and still is. However, before a lot of Nollywood practitioners could know it, we started to have folks like Shirley Frimpong Manso from your country produce excellent production quality with respect to what we're seeing out of Africa with her movies, Pip, Adam's Apple, and the list goes on. And you're one of the persons that have worked with Shirley and her team. Her husband, I forget his name, last name Ato. Ken Ato, exactly. And of course, winning awards left and right, to the point where you started to hear, both in media as well as among Nollywood practitioners, that Ghana was a threat and a little bit of a tension between both countries and practitioners at some point. So, first of all, can you tell us why we're seeing such quality production coming out of Ghana in terms of your experience with working with Shirley? And then could you also address this tension between two countries where sometimes people are being supposedly kidnapped, adopted, or kidnapped or whatever, because one country doesn't want, a set of actors to act, or vice versa?
Well, number one, I think when it comes to the Ghana movie industry, we are investing a lot into equipment. I mean, these days it's more about, okay, what camera did you use? What lighting system did you use? Who was your cameraman? Who was your director? Who was your, your crew? Or, who are those who you did the film with? I think that's a healthy competition. That's something which is very healthy. We are putting more into quality instead of quantity in terms of Ghana, because we are trying to let our films go out there. We are trying to let our films go into film festivals, possibly into Cannes, possibly into the Oscars. So by and large, we are learning slowly. So that's why we have actions coming from Ghana. In terms of the rivalry between the Ghana and the Nigerian film industry, I think it's just healthy rivalry. West Africa in terms of film. I don't see it I don't see it as something which is very serious. I mean, I go to Nigeria to film. Nigerians come to Ghana to film. Once in a while, there's a little conflict here and there. They say, okay, fine, we are not allowing Ghanaians to come to Nigeria again. Ghanaians do say we won't allow Nigerians to come to Ghana to film again. I mean, there's something that is go on and on, but it's just one of those things that happen in an industry it's just one of those things that happen in an industry. I don't see it as something which is very, very, very serious.
Okay, I certainly hope so because I remember back in the 80s or 80s, 90s when there was that political friction between two countries, and at some point Nigeria certainly said, all Ghanaians living in Nigeria needed to go. And a lot of them, ended up going back to Ghana. And I think on the flip side, that happened too. And I remember it so vividly because one of my teachers was a Ghanaian teacher, Mr. Denso. And Mr. Denso had this thing about flogging us a lot. So he flogged us all the time. And when that policy and all that came, as much as I didn't care for it, I was sort of relieved that I wouldn't be beat up every day by Mr. Denso.
Oh, really?
Oh, God, that man just flogged the crap out of you. It wasn't even funny at all. But I certainly hope that, thank you, I will take that. So I certainly hope that whatever it is in terms of that tension that, film practitioners from both countries can really keep it on the low and not make it be out of control. Let me go a little bit more to your family background, and then I do want to come and now talk about you and this personal brand you've built outside of film that's taken on a life of itself or of its own with business and philanthropic efforts and other things and controversies actually also. So your family, how many brothers and sisters?
I just have two elder sisters.
Oh, so you're the last born.
Well, if you want to put it that way.
Oh, what's the other way to put it? Help me.
You're the only boy and I'm the last born.
Okay. You're the only boy and the last born, which means in African culture, unless Ghana is different, that you got a lot of attention, correct?
Not really.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How come yours was a different story?
Well, I'm saying not really because I'm just trying to be modest and trying to hide away from the fact that, I was the last born and I received all the attention. But yes, I did get some sort of attention. Okay.
In your movies, like I said, you tend to play a lot of roles where you're just the most amazing guy any woman could ever ask for. Were you able to play this character so well because of your family, being born into the family that you are and learning how to really work with women over time?
Well, I don't know if you want to. I don't know if I would want to say that, but yes. I mean, I grew up in a house where I just had I just had my sisters to quote unquote play with when I was growing up. So I have a very strong feminine side. I love my sisters to death. I always used to play around girls. So maybe yes, it's helped me in my career in terms of dealing with women.
Okay. All right. And so what is it about you that stands out in terms of dealing with women where you seem to have this natural touch in your movies? We're going to get outside of your movies.
I really don't know. I mean, you were saying I have a natural touch. I just think I'm just trying to be normal. So that would be hard to describe.
Okay. As the recipient of watching your characters.
Or maybe I'm using juju.
Yeah, I think you use juju in your movies because you really connect with your audience. What is, maybe how I'm trying to couch the question is, what is it that what is the preparation that you go into in order for you to be able to connect so deeply the way you do with your audience, particularly your female audience? People love you as an actor, and I'm wondering how much skill sets and energy and learning and process goes into bringing these characters to life the way you do.
Well, it's hard to to get. I mean, it's hard to get into character, but once you get into character, it's easy. You just have to understand the character you're playing, understand other people's character, put yourself in the position of the character you're playing, and I think things will just flow naturally. You just don't have to try hard to be that character. Just embrace that character, and once you embrace it and you embrace the scene you are doing, everything will just come out naturally.
Okay, so you studied civil engineering. Have you put in any more work into developing yourself as an actor?
No. I mean, acting more or less comes with experience, and you gain experience over the years. I mean, with consistent acting, you definitely gain experience. I mean, I still have a lot to learn in terms of acting. Even just today, I was watching a movie of mine that I did like 5 years ago, and I was like, wow, my acting was a bit of crap back then. But I still think I have a lot of of I still think I have a lot of learning to do in terms of acting. I haven't had any professional acting yet. You know, in Africa or in the film industry, you know, there's we hardly go for acting courses and all those things, because it's more or less like you learn it on the job. You know? But I think I'll do that one of these days.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because you're now seeing a reawakening of the consciousness of actors and actresses to put in the work as professionals on the continent. So I'm seeing a lot of your counterparts come into the U.S. to get training or investing in training over there, where you're having American people show up on the continent and train them.
Yeah.
And they're signing up for these courses. So I was wondering if you had plans to do that. So it's good to hear that you are looking at that to refine your skill sets even more so.
Sure. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so we've been talking about, you know, your skills and being good with women and all this other stuff. But as you know, when you're a celebrity, there's certain controversies that trail you. And one part of one that we know that trailed you was the allegation that you were married here in the U.S. And I couldn't quite get the gist of what happened, but a young woman emerged and said that you had gone home, and I don't know if you married or something, and there was a certificate in the local courts here evidencing some sort of marriage between you and her, and she helped you out and you dumped her or something. I'm not sure. Could you clarify and set the record straight so we understand your brand and what you're doing when it comes to marrying women in the U.S. and supposedly dumping them?
Well, obviously, I knew that said woman, you know, but nothing of that sort happened. It was just, I would say, things just got out of hand. Somebody just got angry and decided to get back at me, you know, with all sort of false allegations. So that's pretty much what happened.
Okay, what is a certification? Because you're right that people say all kinds of things, and we can believe that in the life of a celebrity. But what about the documented evidence in a courthouse of law here, where people take things very seriously and wouldn't be filing fraudulent documents? What is that document?
Well, I mean, if you have a certain lady getting angry about certain things, anything is possible under the sun, you know. So this is an issue that you know, I stopped talking about months ago, and when people ask me, I'll just say, look, it's in the past. It happened over a year and a half ago. Whatever the woman did, she's apologized to me, and you know, let sleeping dogs lie.
Okay. All right. Do you have plans to expand into the U.S. in terms of your personal brand?
Well, yes, I do. I do have plans of expanding to the U.S. because most of my fan base, well, apart after Ghana and Nigeria, I think U.S. is the next country where I have a lot of people. I do have plans of expanding my brand into the U.S.
Okay.
But it has to be done, you know, in a legal way, if I may put it that way.
Okay, so then my follow-up question is, when you have this kind of situations like with this woman, and it's coming up in Google index searches on first pages or whatever, and it's already affecting your brand and being what people are introduced to here in the U.S. outside of just the African diaspora, what are your intentions to clean that up and give us a brand that we actually know? Where the personal doesn't spill into the public the way it's been doing lately.
You know, being a celebrity, even in America, a lot of celebrities have a lot of controversies surrounding them. It's part of life. It's part of being out there. I mean, an example is you can get up tomorrow and say, look, John Dumelo has impregnated me and he's ignored me. People will believe it till you probably say, okay, it's a lie, or two.
No, I wouldn't be doing that. Not anytime.
No, I'm just saying. It's just. I mean,
and especially not as a lawyer. Absolutely not.
Well, okay. You can just say John just kissed me and, you know, ran away and whatever. But I'm just saying,
in your dreams, it will not happen.
You never know.
Please.
But I'm just saying that most celebrities are exposed to so many things, and as such, when such controversies pop up, you just have to clean it up. You just have to do some damage control and move on with life. Almost everybody has some kind of controversy or some kind of story surrounding him or her. But at the end of the day, it's about how you deal with it and how you put out that positive image out there. Yes, it affected me some time ago, like when all those things were happening. But I think now people have forgotten about it, or people are forgetting about it, and we're just looking at the brighter side.
Okay, so let's look at the brighter side a little bit on a different topic, but clear that out. My background is extensively in fashion, and I understand you're a fashion designer. But in following your work, at some point, it seems like you got into some sort of licensing deal with the fashion designer out in Ghana, and that deal didn't work out. And here we were again, yet with another major controversy about how you basically pulled the rug underneath this designer on this business venture. Could you also give us some clarity on what that was?
Which one was that?
Right. It was about your Mellow clothing, I believe, or if it wasn't your Mellow clothing, it was something. I think it was a clothing brand of yours that you were supposedly collaborated with a woman in Ghana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you explain what that controversy was all about?
Oh,
J Mellow clothing supposedly was hers, not yours.
I think. Really? No, I never heard something like that.
Okay.
I mean, the truth about it is that most of these stories just come out and there's no iota of truth to it. So sometimes I just don't respond to it. And I this is the first time I'm hearing something like this.
Okay.
So,
all right. Okay, so there's J Mellow Clothing, your clothing brand, and then you've got also a hair brand, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so let's talk about your hair brand. Tell us why you decided to go into selling hair extensions and other hair products for women, and why that choice.
Well, you see, I don't want to use that word, ladies man, but I have a lot of female fans. So, you look at the female, you look at the things that the female or the woman needs, and you say to yourself, okay, look, you do have a certain following. Why don't you create this brand and see if it will work amongst women? And that basically, that's just one of the products I created to see how well, women will receive it. And it was received well. It's still being received well. And that's how come something like that came up. Okay,
so J Mellow hair outlet in Accra. Where do you have it at? Near Osu, or I've been to Ghana before. So Osu.
Trying to mention the names as if you know Ghana quite well. But
I visited the country, so yes, I do have an idea. Not completely, but there's the I'd stayed at the Golden Tulip when I was there. And also visited Osu Market and did some shopping and stuff. So, but I'm just trying to get location-wise, where's your mall in case for, tourist people that may visit? Your mall would be a pretty big deal. Where is your shop?
Well, the shop was located at the mall, but I closed it down. But right now, all who wanted some of the hair, or who want the hair, you just have to, email me or email my team, and then my team will respond to them. And then, it's literally by order now.
Oh, why did you choose that model as opposed to some physical location for your?
Because the hair market was getting saturated. A lot of people were getting into the hair business now. A lot of fake hair was also being introduced into the market by other people. So I just decided to cut my costs, close down the shop. If you want the hair, I order it for you. It was just a marketing strategy.
Okay. I remember you, but you're not managing that, because that would be very micromanaging of a hair brand. And you're a very busy actor and businessman. Yeah. You have a team managing the order and the distribution and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about J Mellow clothing launch. I think you were at, I can't believe where, I think it was Canada, and you had a product launch, and I also believe you were also in Texas and also had some sort of product launch of your clothing line. Was that last year? Okay, so tell us why you decided clothing and what you found as of, would it be appropriate to call you a fashion designer, or you're just selling clothes but not necessarily a fashion designer?
No, I'm not a fashion designer.
Okay.
It's some. I'm not. It's just merchandise. You have T-shirts with J Mellow rating on it. You have, you have hoodies with J Mellow rating on it, and I just decided to sell it. So I wouldn't call myself a fashion designer.
Okay. So just merchandising, brand merchandising. You're expanding your portfolio, hair, clothing. Why are you using or deciding to expand in terms of apparel clothing? Why that choice for you?
It's I don't know. I mean, everybody buys clothing, literally. You need to be clothed. I mean, everybody wants to spend money on something which is good. So it was something like, okay, why don't I try this avenue, the clothing line. I mean, it's not like I'm copying other celebrities, but if you look at other celebrities, in America and in the UK, especially in America, I mean, one of the first things they do is to open a clothing line. And they don't do it because everybody else is doing it. They do it because it's profitable. They do it because they have a following. And at least some of their followers or some of their fans will purchase their merchandise.
Absolutely. Actually, let me add a word here for our listeners, because if you follow the African Music Law show, you already know this, that it's not just the product of the music or your acting or the actual entertainment product. You've got to leverage and diversify, and that includes expansion into other things like John is doing, the apparel, clothing line, books, other products you may have. Hair products, if you will, which is very different and immediately draws attention and know your demographic. So I completely agree. I'm just trying to lay the foundation as you as a businessman to understand strategically how you're thinking when you're deciding to expand into these different markets. Is it for longevity, or is just like you said, try, see what happens? Or do you have a forefront of, hey, my career is only going to go XYZ point and I want to do other things?
I think it's a mixture of both. I mean, I've always loved business. I've always invested my money into business. So as you grow in a certain career, or as you grow in life, you have to diversify. I mean, you have so many athletes, so many celebrities diversifying, having restaurants, owning, so many kinds of other business. It's because you need to sustain. You need to sustain whatever it is you're going through, or whatever the lifestyle that you have. So maybe I'm not saying I've made $1 million, but I'm just saying maybe a celebrity has made $1 million. What do you do with that $1 million? I mean, you don't go blow up the $1 million. You invest it into something so that one day, just one day, when you stop being relevant in your respective field, you can rely on those businesses as to support you.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about, relying on those different businesses to support you. How many businesses do you have at this point?
I have a clothing line. I have a film school in Ghana.
Film school? Wow.
Yep,
awesome.
Yep. I have a hotel in Ghana.
Whoa.
It's like a block of apartments that, people who want to come to Ghana for long term, short term, they rent it out. I mean, I rent it to them. And then quite recently, well, I haven't launched it yet. I'm launching my cosmetic line very soon.
Wow, John. Wow.
Which comprises of, soap. I mean, they're all naturally made, organic stuff.
Skincare.
Yeah, the soap and cocoa butter and shea butter.
Wow. So all skincare, not necessarily actual makeup stuff, just like for
No. Yeah, skincare. Sorry.
Why are you choosing those that instead of maybe like makeup, which sells a lot too? Why organic skincare soap?
I mean, I think these days women are trying to be more natural. Women are trying to stay natural. Women are trying to use more homemade organic stuff instead of all these artificial things. Yes, there's money in cosmetics. That other side of cosmetics, but I think people just want to be more natural. People want to use cocoa butter, which is very natural, instead of the cocoa butter that a lot of things have been added to it, or shea butter that a lot of things have been added to it.
John,
and
I'm so fascinated. Sorry, go ahead, please.
And so Ghana has, a lot of shea butter. So I mean, you have this raw material there. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to come and use that raw material to develop a product. Why don't I develop the product, sell it to people? If they like it, they keep on buying it.
I'm so fascinated, John, by the fact that you make those products and you're very strategic about looking at your demographic and the ones that are connected to you already, which is women, and then creating all those products for women. I find it so fascinating, because a lot of guys would be like, no, I'm not going to sell women products. What will other guys think? They're not thinking from a perspective of business. And you're just like, look, I'm a ladies' man in my movies at least, and women love me, so why not? I find that so fascinating. You go. That's pretty gutsy, actually, don't you think? I think that is.
Well, thank you very much, madam.
You wanted to say something else. You're like, let me just say thank you and leave that matter alone.
Exactly.
Let's talk about your film school. That's interesting. What exactly makes your film school stand apart, and what are you doing there? What is it called?
Well, it's called the John Dumelo Film Academy. We've been in existence for about, let's say, 2 years now, but we are undergoing major restructuring and rebranding now. We're expanding and everything, and it's a film school. It's a film school that once you attend, you're definitely going to get a lot out. We have been able to manage a very small class, which is very good. So major attention is paid to each individual. And once you get out, you have links to other production houses, which obviously get you exposed. I mean, we have a lot of we've made a lot of stars through our film school.
Wow. So were you talking about personalized, detailed attention to each person in order to give them the opportunity to excel and thrive?
Exactly. Yes, that's what I said.
Very interesting. And so 2 years now into it, and how challenging is it to start a film school? I would think that's quite a challenge.
It is. It is very challenging, considering the fact that the economy in Ghana or in the economy in Africa is not, or let's just say in Ghana, is not that good. I mean, it's getting better. So convincing somebody to come and pay fees to learn filmmaking is hard. They think they can learn it on the street or something like that. But these days, everybody's trying to be very professional. Everybody's trying to acquire certain skills, and it's very important to attend a film school to acquire these skills. So sometimes it's challenging to convince people to attend.
Yeah, you're right. I was interviewing your colleague Juliet Ibrahim, who's an actress there in Ghana and as well as Nigeria, and she had mentioned that she learned how to act through YouTube videos. I was so amazed. She said that's how she learned how to act. She didn't get any kind of professional training, and with YouTube being accessible to so many, I can understand how that could possibly be a challenge. But again, it goes to that brand name that you have to pull people in. So, finally, in terms of your business, let's wrap it up with just specific to your business. Let's wrap it up with the hotel thing. You mentioned the hotel. One thing I found when I visited Ghana was there's so many hotels in such a competitive market. Labadi Beach Hotel, Golden Tulip, White Sands, and all those other places that I had the privilege of checking out and staying. And such a hotel industry. Why did you decide to do hotel for you?
Well, I mean, it will interest you to know, but we still have, we still have very, very, very little amount of hotels in Ghana. I mean, we don't really have a lot of. I mean, you mentioned these hotels, yes, but we don't really have a lot. And one thing that stands out for mine is, sometimes people want to come into Ghana for a month or two. They don't really want to spend it in a hotel. We give you a sort of facility or a service which is equal to being in a house, being in an apartment.
That's amazing.
So it's more or less like one bedroom apartment. You get all the services as a hotel. You get it's a serviced apartment, literally. Your sheets are changed, your bed is laid.
That's amazing.
Everything, but it's just an apartment, and if you put it together, it's quite cheaper than staying in a hotel.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I travel a lot and used to travel a lot, and at some point I just got tired of being in hotels, and I started to look at alternatives exactly like what you have, furnished hotel apartments, if you will, that allows me to go do my own groceries if I'm going to stay for a month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even 1 week, depending on how I'm feeling. So it gives you more control over your diet, over, just because when you're always on the road. That sounds really, really interesting, because that I've not heard of that in anywhere in Africa just yet. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah. Okay. So we're wrapped up with the business side for you. Philanthropic effort. Excuse me.
You could take your time, don't worry.
Yeah, I understand you're involved in philanthropy. So what exactly are you doing in terms of charity work?
The foundation actually distributes exercise books, pens, pencils, erasers, stationery. Everything is stationery to kids in deprived areas. I have done that in so many villages in Ghana. I've done the same thing in Sierra Leone, the same thing in Cameroon. I have distributed baby pampers and food to a hospital. I did that in Liberia on Christmas Day last year. I did a similar thing to a cancer hospital in Zambia. But by and large, we're trying to expand our operations to other different African countries.
That's amazing. That's really good. To whom much is given, much is expected. Let me wrap it up with brand endorsement deals. You talked about, hey, you know what, you need to think about the future, where your different monies are going to come from when, you're acting or whatever the creative talent is. It's not necessarily bringing you the money as it used to. You signed to Go Africa You've signed to Go Africa Magic as a brand ambassador. It's you and Juliet, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about what you think about when you're doing brand endorsement deals and why you decided to go this direction with this particular brand.
Well, it's very strategic to choose which kind of brands you associate your name with. And in terms of the Africa Magic Go, it's something which is an African brand. It's not really a Ghanaian brand. So it's a different platform. And apart from it being an African brand, it's geared towards people in the diaspora, people outside Africa. So this is more or less like an international being an international brand ambassador, sort of. So obviously I was very happy to be a brand ambassador, and I know for a fact that being associated with Africa Magic Go has obviously given my career a certain boost, and also given Africa Magic a certain boost.
So what next for John? What do you have in you that we haven't seen yet?
What is next for me? More of business, more of developing the film industry, more of taking challenging roles, and more philanthropic work.
Okay, and in the U.S., what are you planning to do here since you come here often and you're trying to... Have you done any movies here? What's your plan of vision?
Well, my line of vision here in the U.S. is to obviously get myself into a couple of Hollywood productions. I'm still working on that. There's so many things that go on behind scenes that, before you can act in the States, as in Hollywood. So I'm still working on that. It's more or less like expanding my territory. Yes, I've done so many African films. What next? What next is, going a step further, going to Hollywood, or, doing productions in Africa and inviting Hollywood stars to come and participate in those productions in Africa.
What about Bollywood? Bollywood is so huge. I grew up on Bollywood movies when I lived in Africa, and a lot of Africans grew up on Bollywood movies. Why aren't we really looking at that? A lot of people are constantly looking at Hollywood. Do you have any plans to join our Indian brothers and sisters in terms of expanding your film enterprise?
Well, the Indian film industry is, they have their own market. I would say, they don't have any dark skin or black actors in India. So it would be hard to break into that market. But as compared to Hollywood, you have a lot of black brothers who are acting here. So it's easier to be identified in Hollywood than in India. But who knows? You've brought up a very good suggestion, and I'm sure we will look into that.
Well, I want to thank you for your time with us today on Africa Music Law. Could you drop at least 3 to 5 tips for our upcoming film talents that are going to listen to you, whether you're talking on the production end or the actual talent? What are the pieces of advice that you would give for anyone listening to you today?
Number 1, pray to God for direction. Number 2, you have to stay humble. Number 3, you have to learn to pay your dues in the film industry. Number 4, don't get into acting for the wrong reasons. Don't say you want to be famous so because of that you want to get into acting. Number 5, you have to be passionate about the film industry. It's very important. It's very important to be passionate about it. If you're not good, get some training. If you're good, keep on training yourself to be the best, because we still need a lot of actors and actresses. And obviously, you are more than welcome to be an actress or actor, and you as well, Odiak, you're more than welcome to be an actress.
Uduak. Yeah, you know what? I plan to produce, and particularly I want to produce films, law films. I just, I don't understand why we don't have legal movies in Africa. I did see one with you and Jackie Appiah where it was like a wills.
Like a meal.
Yes, and that was an amazing film. So I get turned on by legal fiction, legal films, and I hopefully someday I will get the opportunity to produce. I have actually studied script writing, and I do have certain scripts written. So who knows? But I know for sure I'd like to be able to do that. Like be a John Grisham. Go ahead.
Did you say you get turned on by law films?
Absolutely. Law is my passion. I do get turned on by legal films and stuff. I watch everything. I'm a law junkie when it comes to films.
Okay.
No sexual innuendos. It's not going anywhere. Go focus on your own drama. On all the wahala where you get on the ground. I mean, you say we don't understand. I go speak pidgin now, so all the Wimbo people here no go hear what they say. Go handle your wahala. Anyways, so thank you so much, and thank you for all the amazing tips you dropped for our audience. And Africa Music Law listeners, thank you so much for listening. John, you rock. And until next time, we will talk to you all very, very soon.